You're watching the Tesla Live with your host, Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Live number 360, or as we like to call it, the Circle Round. So, welcome to the show. 360 episodes, man. We're getting up there. That's quite an amount. We'll have to think of doing something special for 400, but that's still 40 away. So let's get to it today. Joining me, as per usual, we have Mr. Casey Green joining us from the Mid-Atlantic. How are you today, sir?
Quite well.
Excellent. And looks like you got yourself a wireless keyboard upside down behind you.
I do. Vivian was trying to eat on the couch, and then she also wanted to eat on the keyboard. And I do that keyboard sometimes.
There you go. Got to keep it safe. Absolutely.
Yes.
Also joining us, as per usual, Mr. Patrick Connor from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
Hello, Tesla Nation. I am good. And I think last time we were here, I was complaining that it was too hot. Well, that's gone. The weather is flopped, and now it's nice and cold again, which means don't have to run the AC, which means a lot more kilowatt hours of sunshine going into the grid and filling up the battery and running all of our devices. So good times while they last.
And banking the credits.
Yes, exactly.
83 Fred here.
Yeah, it's kind of hot here in southwestern Ontario as well. So we're sitting at 26 degrees Celsius. So I have no idea what Fred that is, but it's hot. It's hot and humid. Oh, let's say hello to Derek in the chat room first, followed closely by Lee Moon. How you doing, guys? Glad you can join us. Glad you're with us. Well, let's get to the news because there is a ton of it as usual. And what do we got for our first news story? We've got, CyberTruck registrations in the U.S. Has started to go on that curve upwards. We know that Cybertruck has taken some time to start to spool up for volume. And this little nugget was taken from March of this year registration. So not too far into the new year. Cybertruck was out registering the Rivian R1T. So we've got, obviously, we're getting some volume out there, but that doesn't necessarily tell us the full story. Maybe Rivian's R1Ts are a little bit down historically for March. But at least we've got the ability that we can see that more and more Cybertrucks are starting to roll out. March is when they ran across that problem with they needed a rivet in the gas pedal to keep it from sliding up and down, but that's been resolved. And we're seeing from videos from Giga Texas, our friend Joe Tegmeyer has been continually droning the site, and we see those lines of Cybertrucks starting to fill up those exit lots, which there are now a few of them. And in one of Joe's latest videos, it showed that they were starting to be stored inside the brand new concrete parking structure that was built at Giga Texas. So you can see the silver hoods poking out from the bottom levels of the parking structure. And this parking structure is massive. If you've ever seen any of these videos, it's a very large site that is starting to fill up with some Cybertrucks. I'm not sure why they're putting them in there, because they seem to have a ton of room in their exit lots, which they now have, as mentioned, a few of them, not just one anymore. So,
quad squad. They're shy. Yep. They don't want pictures of their people or their stuff.
Yep. So it's something that we're starting to see the the volume starting to increase, and this is just another great sign to see. We're starting to catch up with some competitors, showing us that the volumes are actually increasing. So always good to see.
So my introduction to this story I thought was not useful. I commented on it. They framed it as Cybertruck beats Rivian R1T, but is slammed by the lightning. And I was like, well, the lightning isn't production constrained. So beating the Rivian, that might be interesting and useful, but that would be like saying that the Cybertruck outsold the Chevrolet and the Denali. They're also production constrained, so that tells us nothing.
Yeah.
But, you know, that lightning versus R1T, that's interesting. And Cybertruck being constrained and beating out a car that is not as constrained, or at least not constrained at all as far as we can see. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's good news, and of course this was back in March, so we've obviously had a few months to add on to that, and we'll see if we can get some more solid figures as time goes along. I still believe that, of course, they're going to be combining Cybertruck numbers, rolling them into other categories, because they just too much trouble if they were to release the actual number. And people are freaking out no matter what the number is.
Cars last week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hello to JT in the chat room and Lisa as well. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, what do we got next here? Oh, yes, this is Patrick's story, and it's a gaming story. What's this about, Patrick?
Oh, that's right. Yes. So if you enjoy having steam in your Tesla, or then you better buy a used one. So no, okay, let's.
Not only that, but take a cue from Mark. In fact, just have him copy you on his calendar for when to diddle the lumbar support on the passenger seat.
Right.
When you need to open up Steam game.
That's one of the theories. So if you're confused and think this is an alternative transportation and we're talking about steam-powered vehicles, you're not far off. But okay, so let's just get into it here. So Tesla begins removing steam support from new vehicles. This comes to us from Drive Tesla Canada by Darren John. So if you don't know what Steam is, it's an online game store library launcher. And so if you have Steam support for something, like they make a Steam Deck, a portable console, and you can buy games there, and there's free games there, and you can install them. You can swap out. You can use it like a cloud backup for your settings and your games, so that you can only have a limited number active at a time, and you can swap out and play whichever ones you want for whatever road trip or whatever. So Tesla having that in their vehicles was really cool. If you're into gaming, having Steam support means you get a massive library of games available. So this first rolled into the Model S and Model X in December of 2022. And you had to have a vehicle that had a new AMD Ryzen and 16 gigs of RAM and a discrete GPU. So now they've moved that same AMD Ryzen chip into the 3 and Y, but they don't have the other components that you needed to do it. So this, and even the Cybertruck, when the Cybertruck came out, it did not have Steam support. So this was only a feature of the premium S and X vehicle line. However, there are people who are receiving their Model S and X soon, and they're getting notifications from Tesla saying that they are not going to have Steam support, and they have to click to accept that. And the wording there is a little vague. It says something to the effect of we're redoing our game system. So does that mean Steam will come back? Does that mean Steam's gone forever? Now the speculation begins, and there are all kinds of ideas running around. For example, we talked about lumbar support jokingly, how Tesla had data. They found that people weren't using it, and so they removed it. On everybody's car except Mark, because Mark goes out every day and adjusts his lumbar support.
And me, because I'm legacy, so I can't be bothered to.
Right. So maybe they're seeing that people are not playing games in their Tesla, certainly not any of the premium Steam games that are available, and it's just not worth it. I don't know what the deal is with Steam. They have to pay to have that console support because they're going to be using a different every console's whenever a game comes out, you have to support it in a certain way, and I'm sure Tesla's did all they could to be similar to other systems, but there's always some differences. And so will it come back? Will it stay gone? Who knows? That's where we're at, and I just thought that was interesting.
I suspect there are a couple things going on here.
Yeah.
One, the Cybertruck should have had it, and it didn't, and
Right.
now it won't. Two, they had been kind of off and on with some of the deliveries for S and X, not the new ones, not having what they needed to make this work. And if they were doing the thing like they claimed to have been doing when they removed the lumbar that Mark distorted, I don't know that the S and X customer is going to be as likely to open up Steam games while supercharging or waiting for their spouse or just chilling, as you would find on the more mainstream 3 and Y. They are executive saloons and large SUVs, so they're less likely to have it happen. And the other part of it is you had a car, let's call it one car, but two cars, one line, shipping out computers with double the RAM. And with Elon in cost-saving mode right now, even though it's probably only pennies, doubling the RAM is still a place to save some money rather than letting some humans go. So,
look at it the other side, though. How much utility is there for using games in the car? Like how much is actually being used? It would be very interesting to see the stats of even how many people go into the game's menu. Like I can see, okay, maybe my case and other cases certainly can be different for sure. But I find myself completely ignoring the games. It's just not for me. I've played the beach racing game handful of times. Racer. It's fun, yeah, it's fun. It's entertaining, but I don't know, like twisting the wheels as you sit parked gets to me that you could be wearing off tire tread.
You on that one. If you have a Cybertruck, since you've got steer-by-wire, it
doesn't matter. Yeah. But everybody else, you're wearing tread. Let me tell you.
You don't have to use the steering wheel. There are buttons on the screen.
Or you could use a controller as well.
Yes, yes.
But again, the game's fun. It's enjoyable to play, but I just find myself less and less enticed to play games if I am in a waiting mode at a supercharger or I'm waiting for somebody actively. I would much rather use some of the other options, like Netflix or going to YouTube or going to even the browser to go to a website or two. But again, that's personal choice. But I'm curious: what do you two? Do you two use the games actively? When's the last time you played a game?
I mean, I've played the games. I got a couple hours in them. I liked Fallout Shelter, and I liked. There was a flight, like a. Shoot, I can't even remember the game. It was a flight. Fighting game that was pretty fun, and the last time I played a game was when Polytopia came out, and I, just like Mark, it's not something I do all that often, and I'm also speculating now. I wonder if they were pushing up against the limits like they originally were with MCU1 and MCU2, where they just kind of ran out of compute, and so now they needed to just kind of claw some of that back, except for on the cars that have the extra resources, but the new ones now, they're all the same again. So they kind of have to optimize them all the same rather than getting a little lazy and inefficient.
Yeah, I game at least once or twice a week in the car just because I have to wait for somebody somewhere doing something. And like, for example, so I played Vampire Survivor and Beach Buggy Racer and you mentioned Fallout Shelter. After I first played that in the 3 back in 2018, I got it on my phone and I played that quite a bit. Not in the car, but I got introduced to it by the car. And my favorite game on that, I played 2048 for quite a while and then got bored with that. But then I started playing backgammon, and their AI was not very good, and so I could beat it at the highest level. And then they did an upgrade, and they upgraded the AI, and it started beating me. And I was like, oh no! So then I started playing better, and now we're pretty close. So
all right, so you use it a couple times a week. That's
but I've never had Steam support, and I don't know if I would buy a $60 premium game in the car.
Well, that's the beauty of Steam, though, is you buy it once and you've got it everywhere that you have Steam.
Oh, that's true, right?
Versus if they do a Tesla marketplace, then it's kind of, oh great, I can play that $60 AAA title in my car.
Yeah,
and I got to buy it again for my PlayStation or Xbox.
Right, that is a very good point. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. You in the chat room, Derek has said that it's been about 6 or 8 months since he's played any game in his car.
Oh wow! Come on, go play right now.
No, wait till the show's over.
Bring your
then
phone
go
with you, and then watch us while you're.
It'd be interesting. Those in the chat room, let us know. When's the last time you played a game? What's the time period? It'd be interesting to see. And if you're watching it after the live, put it in the comments. Let us know when's the last time you played the game and in the Tesla, and what was it? So
you know what?
Kind of cool to find out.
Somebody's like monthly check-in with Tesla to when they can get the new computer on their SRX that was advertised as having Steam. They'll just send them this message like, "Oh, none of them have it now, so go away."
Go away. So on to the next story, and this is a bit of a milestone story. Tesla announced just this week that they have reached a new milestone of production, this time at the Fremont Factory. And again, they shared a photo with us, which we will show. There we go.
It's faster than we anticipated, isn't it?
3 million vehicles have been produced at Fremont Factory. And the ever increasing number is getting faster and faster. What was the last overall number we heard company-wide? Was that 6 million?
2 million.
I'm sorry.
It was another million number like this. It was either 2 or like you said 6.
Yeah, I think it was 6. So that's great. Just keep pumping them out. Pretty soon we'll be at some really crazy numbers. All we have to do is get another factory or 2 open, and we'll be on our way. But
or ramp the ones we've got.
Yeah, hard to even believe that just 8 years ago, not even at 1 million. Like it's something that we've seen since tracking this company, since buying our vehicles. That this is a game that you're seeing these numbers compound at an amazing rate. Just watching it, it's quite astonishing. So, Fremont Factory and the employees there, congratulations, and we look forward to many more milestones in the future.
Good point, Lee.
Yeah.
Lee's at negative game numbers.
Exactly. He's just thinking about what game he's going to play.
Lee's planning which game he's going to play first.
Oh, there you go.
Next story. Yes, the ever-going saga at Giga Berlin. This story was to announce that Berlin has been approved for the expansion that Tesla has been going after now for a couple of months. And I'll remind you that when Tesla first applied for this expansion, the actual municipality put it on their ballot for people to vote on. And surprise, the people that did vote, the majority said they don't want it. So, of course, the administration did some backpedaling and said, well, it was just information. It wasn't necessarily that this would be the cause and effect of whether or not they come or expand. And they had to do this backwards talk to to try to appease people, but Tesla certainly wants to double up production at Berlin, and after some more haggling about resources and what the actual numbers are going to be, the people in the municipality, the people in charge, looked over the application and ultimately approved it this week. Side note, in the same area, just outside the factory, in fact, in the woods, the protesters that have been protesting in the cardboard forest, they also won something. They won the ability to stay in their tree forts for an extended period of time. So they're protesting, and they applied for a permit to stay longer and continue protesting, and they were granted that as well.
Isn't that ironic?
Yes.
I have a permit to protest, but
Right.
if you're protesting,
The thing about them, though, is these guys we can actually call protesters, unlike the last set of eco-terrorists that they had there, the bombers, the infiltrators, and the arsonists. At least these guys are, other than making tree houses, which I'm sure the trees actually love and appreciate.
they give them hugs after they put the nail in.
Right. So other than their tree houses, at least they're not burning anything down. So they're objecting and kind of got a little bit of what they wanted. The only half of the harvesting of the cardboard forest that was planned is going to go on at the moment. But here's the thing, though, is that as they do the harvest, they then plant 4 or 5, depending on what they're up to, 4 or 5 trees, local hardwood trees that are native to Germany, that area of Germany, as they remove these trash pines that who knows where they came from. And if we remember what they're protesting, other than the ones who don't want any cars anywhere, they're protesting that the sewage treatment plant is receiving too much material from the plant. And the material that they're receiving is nothing to do with the production lines, because that's a zero export on the water side of it all. This is all from humans using the restroom and a little bit from the kitchen.
Which is
which of course you're not going to get rid of at any point, because those humans are going to be someplace at all times. And guess what? They're going to require bathroom breaks wherever they are.
Have you heard the book Everybody Poops? Apparently these eco protesters have not.
Oh, that's hilarious. I should hand those out.
Just a little button that you wear. Yeah. Oh man.
If you're
that's
pooping,
it's interesting that Tesla now has got this approval to expand, and of course we know that they were looking to double the production. So this could be another line. This could be certainly some more facility to be built for the expansion. Yeah. But what I think is happening here is that Tesla they're kind of getting ready for maybe some of the unrest that's going to happen between China and Europe. We've seen this starting to brew. We've even seen Joe Biden's administration start to say that imports from China are going to be, the taxation is going to be ramped up. They don't want what they feel is unfair trade practices, and they're wanting to keep things on an even keel. So I think that having Giga Berlin available to double their production, maybe go into a line of Model 3s, more Ys, whatever they require, this is going to allow them to avoid any problems with maybe Europe saying at some point, you know what, China, you can't import cars here because we say you're dumping them. And that could cause issues. So I think that this is a role that Tesla is playing, is kind of trying to be a fail-safe, realizing that there could be an issue. We have a plant already in Germany. The plan is to produce more cars anyways. Let's get that approval going, so that if there is some disruption in the future, we're going to be okay when it comes to producing cars in Europe.
That'll also give them a little bit of room to start planning for either Model Next or Robotaxi. And I did miss 2 types of protesters. There's also the ones who don't want more trains at the factory, and ones who don't want more trucks at the factory.
And just like your everyone poops button, you certainly need some sort of transportation at the factory. Rickshaws are not all that good for transporting Model Ys out of the factory. So,
right.
Oh my goodness. What fun. What fun.
I don't envy them for having to navigate this.
We talked earlier about Joe at the Giga Texas with his drones. He's been looking at a bit of a mystery at the south end of Giga Texas for some time now. And what has happened is that Joe has been spotting a new construction project that was happening just on the other side of the brand new south facade that's being built. Couldn't figure out what it was going on there. Looked like some sort of cooling towers or something that would be cooling water supply. Didn't really know. Well, it turns out that Elon tweeted this week that yes, indeed, a new supercomputer cluster is going to be built inside the south end expansion of Gigafactory, Texas. Not against the glass, a little bit pushed in from the glass. And that facility is going to be cooled with water. So a cooling tower of sorts is going to be required to keep that water nice and cool and to recirculate it into new pipes that go into the south end and into that new data center. So that is what's going on there. So that was kind of surprised. Joe was really hesitant to say what it was. He was kind of perplexed for some time about this construction project. He nailed it as to some sort of cooling tower, but didn't really know what the end goal was. And it was interesting to see that Elon actually released it himself through a X post earlier this week.
Yeah, correction. That was Jeff Roberts, longtime drone operator out there, not Joe.
Joe, well, I watched Joe's video when he was questioning what it was.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. I'm sure there's more than one drone out there.
there's hundreds of drones, Patrick.
Yeah, the one that I saw that Musk had responded to was Jeff Roberts.
Right. The tweet was actually responding. I guess I was watching Joe Tegmeyer's video. That's where I got him questioning, what is this thing? It looks like a cooling thing of some sort. Right.
And a lot of data center operators are considering immersion cooling in general. Now, that doesn't mean that's what's happening here. But if they want to have a dojo cluster, it certainly could be the way that they're doing cooling, or they could be doing this water cooling to then cool air, which circulates within for air cooling. And so it'll be interesting to see when we get more details of, what do they actually mean by this. There's a lot of data centers here in the Northwest where I live, and part of the reason that they're here is that the ambient air is cool relative to someplace like Texas. And so in Texas, it's going to be a lot more energy intensive to cool a data center than it would be in the Columbia River Gorge. And and electricity is cheap here, which is another thing that they need plenty of. And so one of the reasons that data centers haven't already moved to liquid cooled or immersion cooling in general is because they're just going to cooler places. It'll be interesting to see how this builds out. And we know that Tesla has a lot of plans for AI training in the future. They've designed their own chip with Dojo. They're now building this data center. They're going to be using it for AI training for both the full self-driving and for Optimus. So they have a lot of compute power that they're going to need. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, you've got a couple of really major types of liquid cooling going on right now in the commercial space. You've got, as Patrick said, you've got the liquid to air. So they'll pump water or glycol into, like super chilled glycol sometimes, into rack fans that will just kind of mix in some cold air with the rack air that they're ingesting. You've got just a bigger version of what you have at home for water cooling, where it pipes through to the hot parts of the servers, and it goes through pipes and it comes out. You've got submersion cooling, where that one's not that common right now, but Microsoft and a few others have literally dumped data centers and containers into the ocean to keep them cool and also kind of give them a little bit of separation from what's going on land. And is there anybody like dunking the whole system in water on land?
Oh yeah, definitely. There are tanks you can buy where you actually put the whole thing in, and there's a couple different fluids that they use. They've now moved to these non-toxic fuel fluids, and
years ago.
And yeah, so I mean, and they just you have a lid that you open and drop it in, and it's non-conductive, and yeah. So there's even ones where the packaging, they're putting a specific texturing on the packaging for nucleation for boiling. Because that phase change has more of a cooling effect. And then you have to have deep enough fluid so that as it rises, it cools, and then it disperses that way. So you get circulation of the fluid within a tank just from the heat of whatever it is that you're cooling.
Circulation.
There's lots and lots of yeah, right. And that's why we have lids to capture it and other methods. And sometimes there's multiple levels of cooling, like one will do the direct cooling, and then you have something else that cools that to recondense it, and so there's multiple stages.
Yeah, what I would like to see is like the same way I can have like a home network of wires, I want to have a home heat pipe network, just pumping like the hot air out of my fridge into my water heater, into my HVAC unit, which will reverse, into my oven, which doesn't reverse.
Right. And I mean, if you look at Tesla's vehicles, they have a lot of clever things like that, because they know they have systems in there, and one of them has heat waste and the other system needs it. So they can use that to, and if you had a whole house designed that way, you could do that too. Nikki Gordon Bloomfield, if you're into EVs, is a YouTuber who lives around here, and she was showing off her server room one day and how she has a mini split in there, and how in the winter that's great. You run that to keep that room cool, but in the summer you run that, but in the winter she's got this other window that vents into their living room. So you've got this hot server room, and you can just use that, keep that heat in your house. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with all these different servers that Tesla is going to have with this new room, you got to believe that they're thinking about efficiency. That why can't we use this excess heat in other ways? Can this be used for something else, or can this excess cooling be used in other ways? Because as Patrick mentioned, the octavalve or other things like it are one of the things that that Tesla has been able to produce almost a heat pump system within their own cars.
Yeah, that would be cool. So we've speculated that someday Tesla will get into doing more home appliances. So I want a home octovalve.
My washer dryer unit has got it, but it's quite self-contained. So it'll take some air from the room on the start of a cycle, but then after that, it just kind of is internal. And I'd like to see it just take air from the room.
Hey, look at that. Tesla Latino has joined us in the chat room. That's Raphael. Hey, Raphael. Hey. How you doing?
Welcome.
He's got himself a Cybertruck, I believe. Yeah, I think he does. Raphael, when's the last time you played a game in any of your vehicles, and what game was it? Be interesting to know. And actually, you can meet Raphael. He's going to be on the road. I'll see him as well, June 15th in Muskegon, Michigan, coming up for the Tesla meetup. They're on the shores of Lake Michigan. So we look forward to that coming up in just a few weeks.
I definitely want to give a big plug to Tesla Tino. I love your content. You just had something where you see I have up here FFF fossil fuels. He recently had a tweet along those same lines. It was brilliant. I'll leave it at that. You go check it out yourself.
my first game in the car, if anybody was wondering what their first game was, mine was the racing sim from the Atari that they had to remove because Atari changed their mind.
Was that pole position?
Yes, that was it.
Yes, pole
Yeah.
position. Exactly. That was fun.
It was.
Absolutely.
You
That
also
was
played
so
that
stupid of
too, man.
Atari. I mean,
Yeah.
really, come on. How old is that game? You really think
Right.
you're going to get some licensing dollars out of it?
They're
No.
still bringing in a quarter here and a quarter there, Patrick.
Literal
You know,
coins, yes. Oh, I
Order the
love the
arcade full,
arcade.
they had to go drain it.
Yeah, we really are sort of the game generation that
That's right.
starting. Yeah.
Yep.
This is awesome.
Video games and the huge cabinets went around when I was in late into high school, and that was the big fun, was putting in a quarter and playing a pinball or a video game.
Yeah,
My
high school was
ruined the arcade.
My high school was near a mall, so at lunch I'd run over and play games, and I was always late to math class or whatever was right after lunch.
Exactly. Common occurrence, I'm sure. Next, let's talk PepsiCo. Pepsi has announced that they are going to be receiving another 50 Tesla Semis to their Fresno distribution center, which has already populated with 21 Tesla Semis at that particular site. So this is great news. Obviously, the test is going well enough to triple your fleet anyways. Side note, they're also adding 75 Ford Transit EV units as well. So the smaller vans are going to be added to this distribution center. I would be really interested to see what kind of charging infrastructure is being expanded at this particular distribution center. Yes, Casey in the back.
Supercharger.com. So our friend Kyle Connor managed to get an interview over at a trade show with some of the Tesla Semi team, and we found out that what we've been calling Tesla Semi is just the Tesla Semi is V1. And there may be a V2 getting ready to come out soon. And we were speculating, why would they use that MCS2 connector? Because nobody else is. And it was the same case as why they use what they did on the Roadster and the Model S, is because the industry just wasn't ready yet when they were ready to get a car out. And so it looks like version 2 is going to use the MCS3 or possibly NACS. It wasn't entirely clear, but it's probably going to be MCS3 because it's a standard. And the existing Tesla Semi fleet is going to get the MCS3 retrofit or NACS, whatever is going to be there. They're going to retrofit the ports, and that answers a little bit of our question as to why and how they're getting this older port, and are they going to do the same thing they did last time and have kind of a schism in the industry? And the answer is no, they're not going to split it around. It's either going to be NACS or MCS3.
Very good. And you can see in this photo, we've got the new paint job. Actually, wrap job. There's no paint anymore. Everyone wraps vehicles. So looks good. We've got them in white and the Pepsi on the side. So if you're out in Fresno area and looking for the blue Tesla Semi, you can now start looking for a white one as well with the new Pepsi logos.
While you're there, look for the white Costco truck and the white Walmart truck.
That's right. They're there also. Yeah, all centered around Fresno area. So that is good. And again, Casey, with the version 1, what they have now, of course, this Tesla's has been an iteration company. They always are looking for changes and modifications, especially in the transportation world where it's their first forte, and they are getting a lot of input from drivers, from fleet managers, from others in the industry, trying to let them know about best practices and things that they can improve with the truck, and things that they could improve with the software within the truck. So all these hardware and software components coming together, I gotta believe that there's just multiple arm lengths of changes and modifications that they have been going through, trying to get these trucks dialed in, and of course ultimately release it to more and more companies, which is going to spur more and more innovation, more and more questions, more and more best practices that can come back and make the whole product even better. So it's got to be exciting times if you're part of that engineering team and getting that direct feedback from users for the first time. I would think that it's quite invigorating.
Yeah, and they were sticking to the long range and standard range nomenclature. They were really trying not to express the battery size, and they didn't, but they also made it so you could calculate it. And it looks like Patrick was right. They were around 850 kilowatt hours. And
I didn't know that these numbers were out. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and they really seem to the reason they don't want to give it away is not that they are some sort of secret, but that they're probably going to try and shrink it like they did all the other cars, while still keeping the range up. And so if they are out there saying it's a 900 megawatt hour pack, and then you get it and yours is 750, but you can still get 500 miles, very much like we saw when they got rid of the 100D and P100D labeling, went to long range and performance, and shrunk the batteries, and they got more range than the car with the bigger battery. And so this is going to be exciting. And when you're online, you see those people telling, "Oh, it's impossible. The physics don't work. Blah blah blah." I'm Bill Gates. Just ignore them, because it doesn't matter what they think. What's going to happen is the bean counters are going to see this thing costs like this many pennies per mile to operate, and the other one costs 50 cents per mile to operate, and this is how much profit margin we need. All right, we're going with that.
Right, and I think the reason that you see things like, oh, that's impossible, is because it hasn't been done before. That's not the same as being first principles impossible. And we've seen some of the semi-truck videos where they talk about the cool things they do, where they have, they can unclutch some of the wheels and have them free rolling and do other stuff, all in the name of efficiency, and things that have never been done to be that efficient before. I mean, so many EVs are, well, we'll just buy some batteries, we'll buy a controller, we'll slap an electric motor in there and call it good. And you've got a potentiometer to the throttle.
It works, but not well.
Exactly. It works, but it's not efficient. So Tesla doesn't, they're not also doing ICE cars and also doing plug-in hybrids. They are focused on one thing. Yes, and doing it as efficiently as possible. So all those ergs that other companies waste with other stuff that's a dead end, Tesla doesn't do that. They're focused on efficiency. When you're hauling, though, I question how much they can actually shrink the battery. If you're just moving your one, Model Y down the road, you can do a lot. But if you're hauling a big trailer, I mean, certainly you don't want to be inefficient. But no. I think the returns are slightly more diminishing in the Semi.
They are. You've got the new version of Octovalve, whenever that comes out. You've got places you can reduce friction and rolling resistance and resistance, those sorts of things. But I don't imagine it's going to be. I mean, I guess even if they save 10 kilowatt hours per vehicle, that adds up over 50,000 vehicles that they're targeting per year. But like you're saying, I think that they'll probably have a lot less tricks up their sleeves than they will, let's say, the Robotaxi.
Yeah, I wonder if tires for semi-trucks will change. We started seeing that when hybrids came out.
And they went to the duals again.
Yeah, will there be low rolling resistance semi-truck tires?
They actually already are, though. They have a special Michelin X line that they have on them now. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because, of course, semis are really fuel thirsty. So if you can come up with anything that's efficient for the trailer, that's going to help. And tires are certainly one of those things for both the tractor and the trailer. That efficiency, I think the semi industry has been struggling to find any little bit of savings that they can, because fuel's so expensive. And of course, that's the biggest expense that fleets and semi owners have is the cost of fuel. So those two things are going to play nicely together, because Tesla's looking for those same type of efficiencies as well when it comes to those tires or other parts of the rig that are used by both types of electrification and internal combustion engines.
And then you add in their just relentless drive to just cut costs. I mean, not that the other guys aren't trying to cut costs, but there's only so much you can do when you only cut costs iteratively. This is the way we've been doing it 100 years. And I found a small tweak to the piston rings instead of like, oh, why don't you throw away the piston rings?
Right. Yes.
I've been told my guys have to work 15 hours a day all week long, and we don't know where the chargers are. This is impossible.
So just an update from last week. This story was released telling us that in the newest version 12, the actual FSD nag has been eliminated.
Woohoo!
So now there are some caveats. It's not
Yes,
just
there are.
removed. Like the biggest thing, of course, is that the nag's still there. It's just that it's now using the internal cabin camera to see whether or not you're paying attention, not whether you're forcing on the wheel or not. So this is something that that Tesla has switched over to the cars that are able to do this. If you have blocked your camera, or if you like to wear low-rimmed hats, or you like to wear sunglasses, and the camera cannot see your eyeballs. Yeah, exactly like that. Then it's going to switch back seamlessly over to the steering wheel nag. But
I give them the password to my Blackview because it's looking at me. I'd like to nag.
It's looking at you. That's right.
No, you can't.
They can tap right in because Wi-Fi turns off when I put it in drive.
So it's going to have to be able to see your eyeballs. If it can't see the eyeballs, it's right back to the steering wheel nag. So
It looks just like this. It's over my shoulder, except instead of like my couch, you see the back window.
Legacy Casey still trying to.
I don't have to do processing. It's already there.
Now, Casey, I'd like you to go to a dollar store and get those glasses that the eyeballs like go out on slinkies. And see what the vehicle does with that. That would be fun.
Dude, look up. Dude.
I think this is a great upgrade because
Yes.
the torque sensor, sometimes you have to torque
It's
kind of hard, and you can actually end up turning off
Torquing out of FSD.
Yeah, and that's not what you wanted. And so the better option is to use the volume or something, but it's the camera's there, the camera's watching you, so for them to use that seems like a much better idea.
Yeah, it seems like that was just a matter of getting the training data, because at first they were not even planning on using this camera for that much, except for to take pictures of the inside of the car to make sure that when it was robotaxiing, they knew who to charge for trashing your car.
Right.
But now that camera seems to be a lot more integral to this whole system.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't got any physical upgrades. It's still just a potato cam.
It'll be interesting to see if the National Traffic Safety Board, if they have an issue with this at all.
I don't see how they can, because they're okay with General Motors and Ford doing this, and it does have a threshold, like where once it hits a certain threshold, they're like, nah, time to keep touching the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying I don't see how they can do that with a straight face.
Yeah, I think this brings Tesla more in line with the other car manufacturers in this one regard.
True. So it probably helps them in that light. So.
Yeah, because if you rent a car and one needs you to hold the wheel and the other needs you to keep doing this, and then the other needs you to touch a certain spot on the wheel, if they all just say, hey, pay attention, and they can see you're not paying attention, they can go from there. That would be
exactly. Well, I think that's about does it for this evening. Let's move on to shout outs. And Patrick, what have you got for a shout out for us this evening?
All right, so let's see if I can do this. Right here, we got carswithcords.net, where I blog occasionally about my future free from fossil fuels. And as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks a lot.
Patrick, I think you've maxed out your character limit on the descriptor there. That's like a long one. He's got like stretching
I've got plenty of room right here. I got to add some more. Up for sale. Sponsorship spots available.
Casey, what do you got for us?
Speaking of sponsorship, hey, you can buy some square feet on the side of my rig over at hvnomads.com. We are making an EV RV. No backup gas, no propane, no kerosene, none of those crutches. So this is going to be a lot of electricity and a lot of solar. And it's going to be fun. As well as on Friday, you can catch us over here at the Tesla Life Show for the Tesla Life Express. And then on Sunday, catch me over at youtube.com at Casey Green. And we will have a similar style of panel, but it will be about just the broader green everything. It will be the HV Nomads. It will be Ford, it'll be greening your home. And eventually, at some point, real soon, we're going to be talking about the next Starship launch, if it's on when we're on, because that was fun. We did one week. There was a static fire test that was awesome, and then again on Monday, you can catch us right back here again for the Tesla Life Express before we come back on Wednesday for our regular live show.
Exactly. Now you've got your whole week planned, so just put it down in your day planner, and we will see you throughout the week. If you haven't already, please give us that thumbs up. It really helps us out. And press that subscribe, and you'll be notified anytime the Tesla Life goes to air. And with that, I think we will bid adieu. Thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla Life.
Mark got it before I had the music ready. So we'll catch you on the flip side.
Stay positive, test negative.
Yes, and thank you for providing said music, Lee Moon. We'll catch you when you get your Model Y. Is that next week, right?
That's right.
Awesome.
Yes.